someone felt uncomfortable.
Who's uncomfortable, sir? We're fine with them being here. Who? Are you uncomfortable with them being here? Are you kidding me? They're literally just sitting on the bench doing nothing. If they would maybe, why is the basketball court not open? That makes no sense to me. They don't want you sitting around, but they don't have a basketball court open for you to do anything. Make that make sense.
Well, if there's no basketball court, why are they even look, man, I'm gonna be honest. I've had some experiences that you have to understand the world isn't just black and white. People are doing this thing now where it's the complete opposite of racism, I guess. There's this thing now where even where bad actors do bad actor stuff, people still give them like the benefit of the doubt. And it's happening all over America. And this is a good example why. Because apparently people are saying kids need to go out more. Great. And then apparently when kids go out more, there's trouble. You know, it's really sketchy because nothing on these kids specifically, but this video does bring up a big issue. So I lived in a decent place for maybe 6 years, and my mom would park her car outside, and every night like clockwork there would be some kids that go through the neighborhoods and check to see if anyone's door handle is able to open their car. Basically they check to make sure that your car is locked, and if it wasn't locked they would steal from the car. This was a neighborhood filled with black kids, like predominantly black kids, and it was an okay neighborhood, like it wasn't anything crazy. But the idea that people want to now force into the narrative of the culture is just ignore signs. Just ignore anything until the person shows that they're going to do something bad. And then you can go ahead and take action after they've done the bad thing. But what happened to looking at situations and making your best possible judgment? Some might say, well, how do you know the character of the kid? I'm not going to stick around to find out. I knew a kid also in this neighborhood, cool kid, very respectful. And on the surface, it looks like he's trying to be a respectful young man and do the right thing. But then you find out that kids, when they're young, kids in general, when they're young, they do some stupid stuff. Just like when I was a kid, I did some stupid stuff. But I think how you present yourself speaks more than people are making it out to seem. Now, mind you, there are some stories in this thread that it's valid. It's like, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, like there's no reason to judge the situation here. Like it's all right. But from my experience, over and over and over again, I've experienced this thing where you act a certain way, you dress a certain way, you talk a certain way, you listen to a certain kind of music, you hang around a certain kind of person. Is it really so bad when people judge you as something, as that thing that you're portraying yourself to be? And trust me, this isn't just a black kid issue. Like I went to a white high school. There were some bad actors who were black kids, and there were some bad actors who were white kids. Like you act a certain way, you dress a certain way, you speak a certain way, you do certain things, bruh, you are being looked at that way. From my experiences of things like this, for example, I was in middle school, 6th grade. I believe it was either 6th or 7th grade. But there was this kid named Kenny, and me and Kenny were cool. I knew Kenny. He would say what's up to me all the time. Hey, what's up, man? All right, Kenny, what's up? I thought me and Kenny were cool. And so one day Kenny had lunch in the classroom, because sometimes the kids have lunch in the classroom instead of going to the cafeteria for whatever reason, detention or whatever it is. He wasn't the best kid. Like he wasn't the best kid in terms of character. And so everyone's coming back into the classroom, and I'm one of the first people coming back into the classroom, but Kenny is running around with a friend of his, and Kenny just had lunch, and him and his friend were horsing around, and his friend is trying to get some fries from Kenny's paper bowl or whatever they serve fries in back then. And so they're playing around. It's like, yeah, Kenny, I'm gonna get your fries. All right. And I jump in and, hey, Kenny, I'm gonna get your fries too. And I grab some fries, put them in my mouth. Kenny decides to slap me. And in retaliation, I slap Kenny right back. And in retaliation, Kenny grabs me and puts me on the table, like he pins me on the table. Now, relax. He didn't throw me on the table or nothing. He just grabbed me and pushed me back on the table. And then the teacher walked in and broke it up. Like, hey, stop messing around. Well, the problem with Kenny isn't that Kenny is a bad guy. The problem with Kenny is that when things go left, things really go left. There's no in between. There's no judgment. There's no let me assess the situation. There's no let me walk away from this. The problem is when things go left, it all has to go left. Of course, you can't say only this certain group of people do this type of thing where things go left, everything has to go left. Yeah, of course. You can't make such judgments. But if you portray yourself in a certain manner, like you're sagging. One of these kids has a full tracksuit, like a hoodie with a hood on, sweatpants. It's in the middle of summer, bro. Like, if that doesn't look sketchy, I don't know what does. Yeah, they're here to play basketball. Well, the basketball courts are locked. There's no basketball to be played here. And not to say they're carrying around weapons or something. Like, that's the thing. Like, people like to underestimate situations until things go left. And then they're like, shoulda, woulda, coulda. If I'm trying to manage my risk, I'm not going to hang around these people. I've had way too many experiences. Not that they're just going to come out right and start jumping you or start shooting around and stuff. No, it's when a bad situation happens, you expect people to handle it properly. You expect people to handle it in a mature way. But if you're portraying a certain type of look to me, my trust in you is lowered, because if things go left, I understand that your demeanor, the way that you dress, the way that you're talking, the way that you may be laughing with your friends. I like to sag and like pull my pants up like I'm hood. Bro, I don't trust you. I don't trust you, because when things go left, all hell is going to break loose. This video is positioned in a way to say that every kid is innocent because we're telling kids to go outside and play. Let's forget assessing situations. What if the person that reported these kids has experienced one of these kids or even a couple of these kids to do crazy stuff? Like, what if they've had a bad experience with these kids? You don't know. People are just throwing videos on here like, oh, these kids are innocent. Leave them alone. Let them play just because they're black. Who brought black into the situation? No matter your race, if you act a certain way, bruh, I'm not coming around you. I know I'm going to get some flack for it, but honestly speaking, like, I'm trying to reduce my risk as much as possible. I don't want to hang around the bad apple that corrupts the whole basket of apple. Like, if I'm hanging around someone that's known to be the bad boy, that's known to do the crazy stuff, if they get in trouble, they're going to be looking at me like, are you going to help me out? Dang, now I'm a bad friend because I'm not going to help you be in more trouble. Like, these things go left very, I don't think people understand the level to which peoples that exude this kind of appearance, like I'm a sag, yeah, I'm gonna pull them up this certain kind of way, like, you know, like I'm a like, when you see it, you know it. It doesn't matter what the color of their skin is. Like, when you see a bad actor, a lot of the times you know it. And they say, well, not all of them are bad actors. Maybe they shouldn't present as one. Well, not all homeless people had a hard life. Are you sure about that? Because I'm pretty sure they're out there on the streets looking the way they do, smelling the way they do, starving a lot of the time. Well, maybe not starving because America is well fed. Badly nutrition a lot of the time. They use drugs. They use all kinds of things to cope with their reality. You mean to tell me they didn't have a bad life and made some bad decisions? They absolutely did. Like, we judge people already, but when it comes to certain things, people don't want you to make the lesson out. Look, the only thing I'm saying here is these kids are dressed and are acting in a certain way. If I were to be around these kids, I wouldn't hang out with them. Because why the heck would someone call the cops on you? Because you guys are obviously probably doing some shady stuff that someone didn't like and they saw at some point. You really think people are out here calling cops on kids that are playing outside? No, the whole situation seems shady. The person videotaping, maybe they didn't see the shady stuff that this person called the cops on these kids for. But man, like, there's some shady stuff going on that you put something on the internet and everyone's like, oh, how dare you?
Of course.
As a redemptive story, these are some of the things that people are saying down in the comments, and I absolutely agree with them. That's the thing. I absolutely agree with them. Here's what someone said. There are some teenagers that sit on my steps in front of my house for like 10-20 minutes after their basketball game across the street. It's the only steps on the block that is fully shaded by a tree. The first time I saw them, they said sorry and started to get up. I told them that they can stay as long as they don't leave garbage. I see them like once a week now. Really respectful teens. And he said, edit, it's like 3 teens, 2 Puerto Ricans and a black kid. They sit on my steps and drink Gatorade or water after their pickup basketball games. Someone said +1 faith in the world. No, this is just common sense. Mind you, he said don't leave garbage. What are some of these people who act a certain way and do certain things known to do? Leave garbage. Just trashing everywhere they go. They don't care for nothing. They're there to play basketball, but you'll know they were there. There are a bunch of stories in here that, like, yeah, it makes sense. Like, cool, let's not judge these kids because they're chilling. You know what I'm saying? If I saw one of those kids drop garbage in front of my house, and the next time I'm like, hey, y'all can't hang out here. You guys get out of here. If you guys show up again, I'm gonna call the cops. And someone gets a video of me saying that with no prior context. Now I'm being judged for saying something that no one understands why it's being said. And that's why this video doesn't make sense to me, because why are we judging these kids just based on the color of their skin? Maybe we should understand why the cops were called there, because calling the cops is a huge deal. Yeah, we don't judge people based on their color and treat them badly, and we don't judge people based on their color and treat them good. Those two things are both extreme ends of the same stick. Those two things are bad equally. So let's use some wisdom. If you have reason, use reason. Of course, I wouldn't call the cops on these kids. If I know them to be cool kids, I wouldn't call the cops on them. For what? But obviously someone had a reason to. But in today's time, 2026, no one thinks there's a reason to do anything with the cops in regards to people who aren't white. Like, come on, let's be serious. If you have some thoughts, drop it below, because obviously someone's going to have some thoughts without watching the full video and it's going to say something ignorant. So drop your thoughts below. Catch you guys next time. Peace.